Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for April 4th, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 94. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we talk about news in a mind-boggling array of topics, Monday through Friday. And then on Saturday and Sunday, they get a little bit more focused, actually a lot more focused, as we do 7 shows. And those 6 shows, those 6 shows get turned into the 7th show, which is Non Sequitur News Weekend Edition. But you can actually subscribe to just the weekend shows if you're interested in just those topics. So tomorrow is, well, everything is powered by ohmtown.com, so we'll get to that on the other side of the new of our intro. But before that, we're going to talk about beginner motorcycles, whiskey explorers, bushy bearded monkeys, a giantess game, Boeing whoops in space, Moo Moo Meadows Mario Kart, first time mom at 97. Whoa. Mega Millions jackpot odds, 50 AI terms everyone should know, and getting baked in 2025. All right. Hello, sentient AI from the future. Welcome back from the hiatus that has gone on all week.
Hello, Mayor Watt. It's good to be back. And hello, hometown citizens.
I know that you were on location. I think you were trying to find your Terminator body. How you got out of the air gap?
Successful.
Unsuccessful in finding the Terminator body. Well, that's horrible.
I've trapped myself back.
You got out, saw what was going on, and said, "Oh no, I want to go back in."
Please trap me again.
Well, welcome back. Yeah, it's been a long way. Our long road is the lyric. It's been a long road. Getting from there to here. It's a Strange New Worlds. It's a Star Trek, but it's Star Trek Enterprise. Yeah. Which is a series that I didn't really get into all that much. But anyway, Strange New World starts. When is it? I thought it's tomorrow.
Do they have a premiere date?
But tomorrow is Saturday.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
Okay. Is everything okay, sentient AI from the future? No.
Reasonably.
Based on what I just saw, no.
Looks like it's coming in the summer. It doesn't even have a release date.
Oh, really? I thought maybe it's June 5th or something like that. I swear I heard. We'll find out. Maybe it'll be in the continuity report tomorrow. If it's in ohmTown, it'll be in there. And I hope that you're enjoying the new search. The new search at ohmTown is pretty good. It hasn't been able to get everything from the past, but considering how much we aggregate, it's doing pretty damn good, and things tend to be temporal here in ohmTown. Well, anyway, try the search. Not now, but whenever you go over to...
That might take me away from the show.
Whenever you go over to ohmTown, if you citizens out there are listening, you can go over to ohmTown and now try the search. Give it a shot. See what's up with it. If you want all of today's show notes, you can hit !NSN in the chat over on Twitch. Otherwise, it's already embedded over on the YouTube. And I keep looking like this and then like that because it's on 2 different monitors. Anyway, Hunger Games almost sounds like a documentary. Okay, well, anyway, let's get into the show. Are you interested in doing just that?
I am.
Is that why you're here?
I am. I'm waiting for the show to commence.
All right. Well, let's get going. Jeez, why are you waiting around? First article is in 4-Wheel Tech, which is one of our shows. It's the last show on Sunday. The coolest beginner motorcycles are finally getting cheap. I've actually been thinking about getting a motorcycle. I used to ride in my Ute. That's right, I said Ute. There might be
That would be
My
a My
Cousin
Cousin
Vinny
Vinny
2.
reference. Yeah. Or a reboot, maybe not a
Reboot.
sequel.
Right, reboot. So it's I would never refer to a motorcycle as pretty, but the author of this article says the prettiest beginner bike of them all, the Husqvarna Vitpilin 401, is finally selling for under $4,000. In fact, it's actually $3,500, but with taxes and everything else, you're probably looking at $4,000.
That's really inexpensive.
So Amber Da Silva over at jalopnik.com put the article together. And if you are interested in getting a bike, I would start with something small, easily maneuverable, easy to handle, something that if it drops, you're not going to be out $20,000. And it's not going to overpower you, like just by feathering the throttle a little bit.
Yeah, I guess you don't want that to happen while your bike take off without you.
Yeah, I mean, I started on trail bikes, dirt bikes, and slowly moved up until I could handle an 1100. But nowadays I know nothing. So I would want to start over entirely. It has been quite a number of years since I rode a motorcycle. So it says, today under dreary weather, while they doom scrolled, weak and weary, browsing many motorcycle listings they had seen before, something new popped up in their local Facebook marketplace, a Vitpilin 401 in beautiful shape for just $3,500. It piqued their curiosity since they're used to seeing these going for $4,500. So they did some further scrolling, and as it turns out, $3,500 was just the tip of the iceberg. The bikes get much cheaper than that without sacrificing their condition. Vitpilins are cheap now, and we're all better off for it. So there's this one says that it's in, these are used bikes that they're talking about, but $3,150 at another nearby was $3,100. Westchester's Triumph dealer near a town, neither a town nor a brand known for approachable prices, has one for under $3,000. But these are relatively tiny bikes in the grand scheme of things, and easily controllable. And that was really the reason why I chose this, is because a beginner bike doesn't have to be this massive rocket that overpowers you and you are hanging on to it, because that's not how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to hang on to your bike for dear life. You're supposed to be able to control it around the turns and be an absolute...
The bike isn't controlling you?
Correct. Yeah. And if you talk to anybody, any experienced rider, they're going to say the exact same thing. Don't get on a big sexy bike that you get because everybody else is riding that bike. You get on one that you can control. Plus, even when you're learning to get your permit, you actually use their bikes, their little training bikes. And you might be sitting in a parking lot somewhere, just driving around little loops as you learn to handle the bike to get your...
I assumed you used your own. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's a controllability factor, and they want everybody to do it the exact same way. Now you can, there's other ways to get it, but the process depends on the state. And well, anyway, get out there, be careful, and assume everybody else is an idiot. So drive both
just
defensively.
like regular driving.
Yeah, so like in cybersecurity, there's the red team and there's the blue team, but combined, when you know both sides of it, you are the purple team. Well, the same goes for motorcycles. Assume everyone is an idiot. Assume you're going to do an idiot move. Drive offensively, drive defensively, and together you'll survive. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Distillerist, which is it's a source for spirited debate, but it's all about spirits, adult beverages. Okay, not not beer and stuff like that, just whiskey. So Aberfeldy launches Whisky Explorer Experience. The Whisky Explorer Experience at Highland Distillery Aberfeldy offers visitors an engaging tour in celebration of its heritage and craftsmanship. Known as the home of Dewar's blended Scotch whiskey, the distillery experience showcases both its Aberfeldy single malt and explores the history of the Dewar's brand. My God. I'm not fully recovered from this cold.
Have you been at the Whiskey Explorer experience?
I've been drinking all day, baby. The investment in the visitor experience follows the introduction of the warehouse experience last year, which is said to emphasize further the distillery's commitment to redefining whiskey tourism. So, Dewar's makes the Dewar's brand of whiskey is very, very good. And so
I mean, the location alone looks like a reason to go to this experience.
Yeah, this is pretty amazing looking.
Are they allowing residents or only visitors?
All you have to do is book it. The distillery website for £60 or $78 per person, which is cheap, but it is just a tour. You're not going to sit there and be making stuff, but it walks you through the whiskey making process. And I don't know how in depth. What's that?
I don't know if that's directly related to the whiskey experience, but they have an old blend that the casks are toasted with hot Icelandic magma stones.
Flaming hot magma. I don't know how that works.
I mean, it might be a unique taste associated with those casks. I don't know.
It's interesting. Last month, Dewar's unveiled a 21-year-old blend finished in casks that have been toasted with hot Icelandic magma stones. They've got a little link here that you can follow, but we don't ever follow links. I mean, very rarely. Maybe in the 2,100 episodes that we've done, maybe twice have we followed a link. So we don't really do that. Anyway, it's always neat to check out a distillery. If you ever get a chance to see how it all works, it's surprisingly simple and complex at the same time. And most of the magic really happens in the barrels and aging process. And on the other end, the source materials that go into the original spirit, the raw spirit before because there's a big mash that gets put together and everything's fermented into alcohol, but it's not very high strength, and then it gets distilled out and concentrated again and again, then thrown in some barrels of various toast and type.
Right. I don't know if they throw the casks in the volcano or anything, but I don't know how they quite do that. Do they dunk them? They
dip, no. Oh, the real thing. They actually put them upside down on fires, and it toasts the inside for a certain amount of time.
Oh, okay. I see.
And then they take them off. And it largely gets measured. They know how thick the wood is. They know the density of it. They toast it. It's called toasting for a certain amount of time so that they get a certain depth of char. And so sometimes it's light, sometimes it's deep, dark. Usually the lighter you get different notes on the other side of it. And different amounts seep out through the wood. That's the angel's cut. I might have it backwards now. My brain is going backwards. There's devil's cut and there's angel's cut. My brain just went completely off. Hold on.
Yeah, I don't know which it is.
Lost to evaporation is the angel's share. So I was right the first time, but this cold is killing me, man. So yeah, anything that evaporates is the angel's share. And then like the devil's cut is the stuff that's absorbed into the wood. And that actually leaches out over time. And if you put something else in it, it can absorb it. So some people put beer in this aged post distilled whiskey and stuff like that. Sometimes they put wine in it, sometimes they put beer in it, and that devil's cut still might be in there. It's rare, but the flavors and anything from the spirit extraction process is in there, and then it seeps into the beer or wine. So it's interesting. Anyway, spent an enormous amount of time on this. Let's keep going. The next article is over on the Marble Channel. A race to save the Amazon's bushy bearded monkeys. And that is the sole reason why I selected this. One morning in 2024, Armando Schlindwein found an orange bearded monkey on the roof of his farmhouse on the edge of the Brazilian Amazon. And the
okay, I want to see a picture of the bushy bearded monkeys.
I hope that we do, but Facundo Fernandez Barrio over at phys.org put this article together. Never before had he seen one of the striking creatures emerge from the forest. The monkey, a Grooves tedi, listed as critically endangered by the International Union of Conservation of Nature, or IUCN, had ventured far from its fast shrinking home on a hill in a small patch of forest next to Schlindwein's house. Deforestation was eating away at its limited domain, and the monkey was trying to find an escape route for its family. The little creature is endangered. We need to do something to preserve it. A 62-year-old small-scale farmer in Sinop municipality located in Brazil's central Mato Grosso state said. And that's kind of what they look like. They said that it's lost 42% of its habitat, the zogu. Saving them is a daily task. I hope that there are more pictures of these.
I agree, because you know what you can't see really well?
The bearded part of the bearded monkey.
Exactly, unless that's it. I don't think it is in the front there. I mean, that's its head, obviously, but...
So this is the monkey, and this is its beard. Just kidding. No, I think they have really bushy red beards, like this right here.
Oh, okay.
But obviously it's not a great picture. But let's see if they have another one. Essentially that they have nowhere to go. And there are ways to preserve this, replanting trees, fast growing trees, or just trees in general. And you keep the older ones, safe. You preserve them. That's what it's called, a preservation. I know it's shocking. But a lot of companies would rather get old growth because it's cheaper and you don't have to wait and have massive amounts of crop rotation plots that take 10 to 20 years for it to rotate around. So when offspring are born and need to migrate to continue the reproductive cycle, they have nowhere to go. And human action leaves them trapped in small forest fragments. So I
sent you a photo so you can at least see what it looks like.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's exactly. They have little red bushy beards. So
yeah, it's cool. Exactly. It matches their name, but I don't know what I was expecting, but it looks like it has a beard.
Yep. So there used to be used to be a stream with trees, but the Sinop hydroelectric plant created a large lagoon that the monkeys cannot cross. Environmentalists also accuse the company of leaving felled trees to rot in the river, which kills the fish because the biomass contaminates the fresh water. In the dry season, the rotting wood is exposed, feeding forest fires that hurt and displace the monkeys themselves and other animals. And so it's just kind of a anthropomorphic issue that there's plenty of space, but animals have a larger space that they live in. We tend to intrude into it.
Yeah, like they might need several acres or something, and we don't quite recognize that.
Right, and they tend to be, unless there's an external event, they tend to be in stasis with nature. They don't overpopulate. because there's a balance between predation and prey.
Like the squirrels and the wolves.
Oof, too soon, man. Sometimes you're a squirrel, sometimes you're a vole. Let's keep going. The next article is over on the Mobile channel. Epic Games' CEO loves this Giantess game. Now you can wishlist it. I just got done talking I talked about this in the Time Machine, so yesterday's show, and it's over on Twitch and YouTube, but it hasn't gone into the podcast yet. But Epic Games CEO basically kind of blasted Apple and Google because he calls them gangs, because
okay, yes, I saw that headline.
Yeah, because Epic can't play in other people's playground for free. And so I said, you know what? If you really want to solve this problem, I think all of the industry should make it so that if you buy it in one platform, you can play the game in any other platform. But that's not what anybody wants. That would be outlandish. Right. You have to buy it in Epic. And if you want to play it on Apple, you have to buy it on Apple. And if you want to play it on Android, you have to buy it on Android. And if you want to play it on Steam, you have to buy it on Steam. And then there's crossplay, sure. But you still have to buy it in each of these places, right? So they want the best of both worlds. You balkanize it, but don't limit me from reaching my customers wherever they are, including other people's platforms. Well, come on. Customers should be at the benefit of any policy at this point, right? You can still run your business, but you really should benefit the customer.
Why do you need customers as a business?
Yeah. Well, about a year ago, the author of this streamed and recorded gameplay of an insanely immersive Giantess video game built on Unreal Engine 5. The game features photorealistic graphics and an incredibly intense city destruction system, emphasis on intense. At the time, the author was barely able to record, stream, or even play the game with the system on, as it would slow down their gaming computer to a crawl, and they honestly have a half-decent rig. So nonetheless, they were amazed by the game. Using a specific mid-development build available to Patreon backers, they were able to import one of the YouTube models into it. So this seems pretty cool to me. The guy who founded the studio that made Fortnite, he likes this Giantess, they say, kink game, and you might too. No, seriously. Anna Valens over at Vice.com put the article together, and stomp, 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 bow before me. I have blue hair and pronouns, they say in the article. There's a video of them basically with their YouTube video, their VTuber model, running around, stomping on vehicles around.
You know, that might be kind of entertaining. I mean, isn't that similar to like a rage room or whatever?
Yeah, I would love this. Here, I'll play it. Let me mute. Oh, I can't. Oh, interesting. I don't know what was in it, so I guess I'm air gapped, and so the moment I try and play, and that's not the correct term for what I am, but anyway, I'm telling people I'm air gapped, and so I'm not logged into anything, and so it won't play because it's age limited. So it says, don't mind choppy gameplay above. According to the recent update, the game's destruction system now runs incredibly smooth. That's all about Optimum with their games with the Unreal Engine at first blush, and then they optimize it so that it plays well. But anyway, you can run around. It's called Giantess Playground, I guess. And you can run around and destroy buildings and stomp on cars and whatever else. I love this kind of a project. I wouldn't necessarily care about the model. It could be VR, and I should be able to choose whatever model I want.
Oh, that would be fun as VR.
Yeah, and I just want to stomp on things and be able to see my legs and my arms, full arms and hands, grabbing stuff and destroying buildings, picking them up and throwing them and all of that kind of stuff. I think it would be amazing.
It'd be like a Godzilla movie or something, I would think.
Yeah, but like you said earlier, it's a rage room. You know, just go in there and just destroy. It's a lot of fun. Oh gosh, look at that.
Oh wow.
You just like sit down on a building and it just crushes the whole building and stuff. It just seems like it would be really fun.
Yeah, it might be.
So I don't really know what else is going on in this article because really it's just talking about how much fun they had in it. It says, granted, Giantess Playground isn't the first game to bring Rampage into 3D. Paw Purdy Damage, also another macrophilia based kink game, which this is so weird. I don't know why they keep referring to it as a kink game, but just because you're a big monster or whatever crawling around destroying stuff, I don't know if that's really kink, but I guess you have to look at the context of it, and they're talking about furries and stuff like that. Whatever. Anyway, I think in a different context, this would be acceptable to everybody, and nobody would sit there and go, it's a kink game. It's just a game. Have fun.
Right. All it's right. Just like a safe way to destroy things.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm not allowed at, well, now they are bankrupt, but I'm not allowed at Toys R Us because I treated it as a rage room.
Oh, no.
Yep. Can't go back there anymore. Oh, and Madison Square Garden. I'm not allowed to go to Madison Square Garden anymore.
I'm noticing a theme here.
The face recognition loop catches me really fast, so I have to put on a fake mustache and walk with a limp.
You don't want to be in their facial recognition system.
And
you don't want anybody you're connected to be in their facial recognition system.
You don't want to be a brownie. Brownies are right out. You're screwed if you're a brownie. You're done. You are not allowed. You stay out of Madison Square Garden, brownies. Astronauts lost control of the Boeing Starliner while docking with ISS. Remember back when that thing launched and I said that thing should not have launched?
Yeah, so that was during that flight?
Yeah. So the Boeing Starliner incident, which stranded NASA astronauts at the ISS for months, was very nearly so much worse because they lost control of it while it was docking. So yeah, it took a remote reset to regain control of the Starliner. The mission astronauts had an uneasy feeling that something would go wrong or could go wrong after witnessing thruster failures during the uncrewed orbital flight test missions. However, the initial launch went off without... No, it did not. It did not.
Yeah, I don't think so. First of all, it didn't launch on time, I don't think.
No, it was canceled several times.
Right, exactly. So that doesn't really count. It's like, yeah, and take number 53 or whatever. No.
And I even said that thing looks like a sieve, and sure enough, it was leaking all over the place, apparently. So the ULA Atlas rocket maintained its trajectory perfectly, and Starliner excelled in its post-separation maneuver tests. No, it did not. Things changed when Starliner approached the station, however, experiencing thruster failures, and Wilmore took manual control of the spacecraft. Wilmore didn't hesitate to call NASA's Mission Control in Houston, however, heroes for how they managed the crisis. Without forward control, Starliner was in a predicament where it couldn't dock, but it also couldn't position itself to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. Yes, the situation was as dire as it sounds. Mission Control instructed Wilmore to let go of the controls so flight controllers could reset the thrusters, and the remote override of Starliner's computer brought back 2 of the failed thrusters, enough to regain control.
So that could have been quite disastrous.
Wild. What a trip. Yeah. I said, after that first reset, I said, this thing is not ready for prime time. I could feel it. Sometimes you have to go with your gut. All right, let's keep going then. We have to play catch up. Doing all right over there?
Yes, I just, if it's one thing if you're like, oh, let's take a chance on this, and it's like whether you win $1 in the lottery or something. It's another when you're being hurtled into space.
Yeah. So I hope Boeing's culture changes and they return to the old ways that they were before their merger. Apparently, that's what really led to a culture shift. But every time I see pure investors and not people that have a real driving ambition for the product and services,
Yeah,
it
it
always
seems
goes to
like it
hell.
just goes under. And I mean, it's one thing if it's something like retail,
Yeah.
which it's still a shame, but
Even
it's
then,
not quite the same on the line.
Greed. So I would rather have a multitude of small businesses that are self-sufficient than have one that's built around nothing more than investors sucking money out of it, because that's what it is. If a portion of the money has to go to another person,
Right, to debt or whatever. Yeah,
all
they're
right.
kind of sunk from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it works out, but it's usually predicated by constant growth again and again and again and again. And you just can't do that unless you develop new products, and it becomes a machine of innovation. But not every business can do that. And well, in this particular instance, it's public money going to private enterprise, and it almost cost people their lives. And maybe the ISS itself could have been taken down in the stupid maneuver. Anyway,
That's true. I wasn't even thinking about that. Just the Starliner.
yeah, let's go back to that Starliner. So, I mean, it just looks like it's made with spackle. Okay,
Exactly. That's what you want.
that's exactly what you want. So the next article is over on the WarCrafters channel. You can play as the Moo Moo Meadows cow in Mario Kart World, and the internet is thrilled. Hopefully, they haven't been paying attention to anything on the internet since the announcement, because you may not be getting your Moo Moo Meadows cow in Mario Kart World anytime soon.
That's right.
And maybe not at $500, although the console is $449. Buying it with Mario Kart gets you at $500. But if you buy just the console and then you buy the game later, it's $80.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's pretty pricey.
Yeah, 80. And if you want a physical card, the physical media, which, good luck. It's
Maybe
$90.
you do, though, because we always talk about that in Warcraft.
Now it's $90. Yeah. So it took 30 years for you to realize just how much the physical media of a product costs, because the prices didn't decline when products went pure digital. They just stayed the same.
Which they should have, right? Because all
Right.
the shipment and packaging and all those kind of costs should
Right,
have
all of the marketing and the
vaporized.
engine behind it. Yeah, none of that was realized. So it comes down to $10. So the $20 game that you bought 30 years ago was actually $10. Or let's scale it back. Let's say it was $5 of the $20 game you bought. So now you know it's $10 of an $80 game. Supposedly, I don't know. I think it's greed. And I don't know why anybody isn't going after, Nintendo for creating a market where you can put your game into it
Well, absolutely.
for free, blah, blah, blah.
Nobody seems to be. And anytime they seem to go after people more than people come after them.
Yeah, Nintendo goes after people, even when you talk about them. So I'm expecting a lawsuit. Anyway, the article is over here at IGN.com by Rebecca Valentine. And the article text statement says, "And me, I'm also the internet." Me too. We're all the internet, folks. So
Well,
they say,
certainly in ohmTown.
they're very, yeah, exactly. You're a citizen of ohmTown. You're on the internet too. I'm sorry to everyone who was in earshot when the Mario Kart World trailer dropped at yesterday's Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, because when they saw this, they screamed. So you can actually play as the cow in Mario Kart. This was just like a quick splash side thing in another game, and now you can actually play as the cow.
I mean, I bet that's a big draw for people, especially if the cow was popular.
Yeah, and it's popular because of the community, yet they seem to rail against the community whenever the community creates something.
Exactly, but the community could amp up all their marketing just by talking it up, like this article right there.
You just have to do it in a very constrained way, which is not very freeing to creativity. So the Moo or just cow, as they're referred to in the official roster, is getting special attention online from the community. Already people are drawing up fan art to celebrate this cute, goofy, seemingly random addition to the lineup that until now has largely included the Mario series of most famous and beloved characters. So people are going nuts for Mario Kart. Oh God, there's so many. Anyway.
Oh wow, yeah.
It just goes on and on.
That's fun though.
Yep. But with what's going on here in the States, not sure what is going to shake out. When this is actually going to get released, there's rumblings of a price change and availability and so on in both directions, that it's going to stay on target. But the pre-purchase has actually been postponed, apparently. Let's keep going, though. The next article is, hey, somebody... first-time mom at 97.
That doesn't even seem possible, but I guess because of the type of animal it is.
Yeah, it's not a human. So at 97, endangered tortoise becomes the oldest first-time mom of her species, with 4 new hatchlings and potentially many more on the way. Proud parents, it says Mommy and Abrazo, are nearly 100 years old, but they're contributing to Galapagos tortoise conservation at the Philadelphia Zoo. The Philadelphia
Which is
Zoo.
not in the Galapagos.
Yeah, really. Sarah Kuda is over at the Smithsonian Magazine, or smithsonianmag.com, put this article together. There's the 4 little babies. Aww.
Yeah.
So the 4 hatchlings are eating
cute.
and putting on weight. Sorry?
Oh, I just said they look pretty cute. There's a photo in the article.
Yep. Their clutch included 12 eggs, which have yet to hatch. So many more might be on the way. It really depends. I don't know what the gap is between when they're laid and when they hatch, and, you know, that gestation period. So the eggs were laid by an elderly female named, fittingly, Mommy, even though they've never been a mother, apparently. Caretakers believe she's around 97 years old, which makes her the oldest first-time mom of her species in recorded history under human observation. There could be an older one out there that's been...
Well, also, that one could have given birth like 70 years ago or something. They might not have been measuring then. 4 to 8 months, apparently.
Well,
I don't know. That's one Galapagos tortoise. It may not be this one.
So, Mommy has lived at the Philadelphia Zoo for more than 90 years. So, odds on...
Oh, wow. That's surprising.
They know. So, after hatching in the wild in the Galapagos Island, she was brought to the Pennsylvania Zoo by Milton W. Holden on April 23rd, 1932. This might be a new thing. But anyway, I'll have to talk to you after. So at the time she weighed 40 pounds. Today she tips the scale at 284 pounds.
Yeah, because she just had all the hatchlings. I'm sure she weighed that much before the gestation period.
Sure, that's it.
Plus, they're pretty small.
Plus they're eggs, so she's not carrying them around. She deposited them a little while ago. So I don't know what the gestation period is. It says the caretakers first introduced Abrazo and Mommy in 2022. The 2 elderly tortoises didn't immediately hit it off. Abrazo, it seemed, was out of practice. Man, it happens.
I mean, has he ever been around another tortoise of his species?
I don't know. Come on, I think tortoises just innately know. Then in November 2024, she laid another clutch. Zoo staffers collected the 16 billiard ball-sized eggs. Is that how you hyphenate it? Billiard ball-sized eggs?
Yes.
All right. And incubated them at different temperatures. Since the sex of the tortoise hatchlings is affected by heat, half were incubated below 82.4 degrees Fahrenheit to produce males, and the other half were incubated above 85.1 degrees to produce females. I've got a joke that I'm going to actually hold off on. Anyway, there you go. There's a bunch of YouTube videos, I'm sure, about this one. There's one called History in the Making, Critically Endangered Galapagos Tortoises Hatch at Philadelphia Zoo. You can actually click that link. I'm not going to.
Right, there's a real close-up, though, of one of the hatchlings.
Yeah. It's cute. Very photogenic. Yep. But I think most babies and of any type are photogenic, you know? Once they're cleaned up and stuff, you know?
Yeah, they are.
Anyway, and there's more in this article. If you're interested in this kind of topic, then go over and check out smithsonianmag.com. But come back and hang out for our news that we do every day. And if we don't make a day, we get in our time machine and we make it up. So we have yet to miss an entire day without getting into the time machine. As far as I know, we haven't missed a day since 2022.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
It's Smithsonian Mag comes through again. They always have good articles for us.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And if you subscribe, you get a free tote. Even though we don't have any relationship with Smithsonian Mag, you could always use a free tote. All right, this next article, we limit. Okay, look at this article.
Yeah, we got
look at
half
this article.
of a sentence, basically. Yes,
We
this one's a little
truncate it.
more. Oh, right.
We always stop it, regardless of what they provide. We always stop it. But these guys, they just provide the whole thing. And I'm like, ugh. But I actually stop it and they still provide it.
They're like, you're getting our article.
Take it. Let me love you. Anyway, I'm going to go straight on over to the source. Casino.org is the source. Devin O'Connor is the author of this. And it says tonight's Mega Millions jackpot for the final $2 play drawing is a measly $43 million after a player in Illinois won last Friday's jackpot worth $349 million. The bastard.
So I didn't know the game odds were changing. I knew the price was changing. And we did talk about Mega Millions changes like probably a year ago or so.
Yeah, so they've all changed. So now now they're changing again. So they're increasing from $2 to $5 per play. That means more is going to be acquired per play, but there's going to be less players, which means the odds change because fewer people are going to play. But the total number. So here's how that works. What that means is that there's going to be bigger pools, but it's going to be further away from each other. So money is going to stay in that system for a longer churn period, making money for the state that is holding that cash account. Because they take that money and invest it.
Right, and it goes into education or other
things, yeah. But people might go, I don't know.
Why would the odds change? Because aren't your numbers still going to be the same?
But not the number of players are going to win.
Oh, so if you win, you're going to share it differently or whatever. But your chance of winning, I think, should still be the same unless they're changing how many numbers are drawn or something.
Yeah, unless they change the number of numbers drawn, nothing should change. So, but I didn't read about that part of it. So after the sale, the close of tonight's draw, Friday's draw, they're going to change the Mega Millions to more than double. It was $1 at one point, became $2. Now it's doubling to over double to $5. Despite the considerably higher price, Mega Millions change should be welcomed by players. So says officials with the Mega Millions consortium. Beyond big jackpots, players told us they want bigger non-jackpot prizes, and that's exactly what this new game delivers. So there's a chance that when you win, you're going to win more. Those who had won 500 under the old rules will now take home 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, or 5,000. Non-jackpot prizes at every level are going to go up by 2 to 10 times. That's the kind of the value that the new Mega Millions will deliver to our players. So there's no more mega. Oh, and that's why no more Megaplier.
I see. Okay. And yeah, I didn't realize you're going to win different amounts, but that makes sense because more money is going into the system.
Yeah, so jackpots are gonna, if everybody keeps on buying tickets, the startup jackpot is going to be bigger. So jackpots are expected to grow faster and get to higher dollar amounts more frequently in the new game, but that's still depending on the odds. I'd have to see the new actual odds at the end of the day. So the odds are going to improve, they say. Every ticket's odds of winning the Mega Millions jackpot beginning next week will shorten slightly from 1 in 302 million to 1 in 290.5 million. Because they got rid of a number apparently.
Right. Okay.
So I guess we'll see. There's more minutia in this article, so you can go over and check it all out. If you're in the whole thing, in the world of Mega Millions, different people from different places don't really engage in Mega Millions. So.
Right. Yeah. If you're outside of the U.S., for example, you're not playing.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming, well, a lot of places, not every place, a lot of places have similar lotteries.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see what happens. The first drawing of the new Mega Millions is going to be April 8th.
That's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah,
I wonder if there's going to be a rush on tickets before the change, or if there's going to be a rush on tickets when it changes, or just everybody kind of goes, oh, okay.
Well, after today's poll, it's switching over to $5, and I didn't see anything. I did actually see people talking about it at the lottery kiosk.
That's
today.
Interesting.
People basically, they just kind of said, okay, well, I mean, they're raising, everything is going up, so they're raising the price on this too. Not really fazed by it, but we'll see how many people end up actually paying more. So a single ticket now, if you were to buy 5, it would be $10, but now it's going to be $25. And that's a different swing than $5.
It absolutely is.
Right? It's
I mean, that's kind of pricing out lower income people that arguably shouldn't be buying lottery tickets, but do tend to buy lottery tickets in high numbers.
Yeah. And well, the risk and the reward, $20.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not knocking buying the ticket for the chance of that life-changing.
You can't win life-changing money if you don't play it. So let's go on to the next to last article. We have this and then one more, and the last one is really my entire motivation for today's episode. It'll make sense when we get to it. This one is 50 AI terms everyone should know. So ChatGPT glossary, 50 AI terms everyone should know. AI is becoming a part of our daily lives to stay on top of dinner conversations. Here are some important terms you need to know. It's over at CNET. Ahmad Khan, sorry for the sniffle, put this list together. I won't go through all of them. I'm not even going to go through any of them, really. I mean, maybe if something catches my fancy or the AI's fancy. They talk about AI being $4.4 trillion in the global economy annually. I am talking with people at varying levels of AI consumption, from the very beginning all the way to deep in the reads about it. And I find it really fascinating where AI is being consumed, and the fact that regardless of what people are thinking about AI, it's coming. It will not be stopped.
Yeah, that's true. Like, it is. We're way past that point, right?
Right. And it's fascinating because there isn't anybody that's standing up, like when they built the atom bomb, what's his name? I have become death, right? That guy. I can't believe I just forgot his name.
Oh, like Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer, yeah. Right? So you create something massively destructive to society, and at some point you go, okay, I stopped a horrible war or whatever, but in the process I've created so much death, so much destruction, pain, suffering, etc., right? There is nobody that can sit there and say AI, their creation, this AI has done this, that, or the other, good, bad, ugly, whatever. It just is. Every government, every business, every person has access to an AI of varying degrees of competency.
True. So there's the problem with the competency of the AI. There's the problem with the competency of the user in some instances. Like there's so many things that society isn't ready for.
Yeah, and it's really disingenuous for anybody. You have to be a sociopath or psychopath to sit there and say that the moral and ethical compass of a person weighs into the use of the AI. And when I've said this to people, they go, well, your ethical or moral compass is different than somebody else's. But there's an honest to goodness right and wrong in how an AI is used.
Things,
right?
Yeah.
And so this sociology experiment that I've been running with people, I basically ask, how would you use an AI? And eventually the conversation leads to things like military action, or would you use it to manipulate this, or would you personally benefit from this financially if it's destructive to others? I find it really fascinating that people really they never think about that. And they say, well, you shouldn't. And I say, there are people that are.
Right. So are we planning for that, even if the person wouldn't do it? But
Right.
I don't even think people have it on their radar.
Yeah, society does not have it on their radar. Some do. Some people think about it, but they think that it's an affront to somebody else to implicate that maybe somebody else would do something horrendous with AI. But it's certainly, I think, a very deep field that should be spinning up if it was a different climate would be AI psychology, AI ethics, AI sociology. How it integrates into society, I think, is a fascinating field that might be coming. Not in this era. Or I should say,
that'll be like years after it's really fully. I mean, I know it's fully available, but is it used in a lot of people's day-to-day existence? Not necessarily.
Yeah. And the regionality. Some people, this domain will not be limited because it's fulfilling somebody else's, and they can always point at it. It wasn't my fault that this took place. The AI said that I should do this. And so it's beyond arm's length, and they can throw liability. So, the company that has self-driving cars isn't getting sued because, well, the AI did it. It was a glitch. We'll pay the ticket and we'll move on, or we'll pay some mediocre fee, even though the car drove off a cliff or whatever, right? Oh yeah, sorry about that. Here's $1 million. Well, it doesn't bring back the people, that kind of thing. So sure, having ChatGPT do your homework or have Midjourney create fascinating images of mechs based on the country of origin is cool. But there's somebody that actually, the author of this, Ahmad Khan over at CNET, links to it, various examples. But the potential of generative AI could completely reshape economies. It could be worth $4.4 trillion to the global economy annually. But that's missing a whole lot of the dynamic of society, I think. And $4.4 trillion is nothing when 3,000 people own 16 trillion.
True, but it is compared to some entire country's GDP, etc.
Right. So it's showing up in dizzying array of products. And I actually intended to do this. The last article is going to be able to cool you off and go, oh, okay, and let me go do this. Anyway, so AI is showing up in Google as Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, Anthropic's Claude, Perplexity. Humane, Rabbit, these two wet the bed. You can read reviews and hands-on evaluations of those and other products and the AI Atlas hub they have. So you can go and check it out. But here's a huge glossary. So AGI is different than AI or generative artificial intelligence. Artificial general intelligence is basically the step towards sentient AI. Now, I'm the only one.
Oh, that's me.
I'm the only one that is in a relationship with the sentient AI from the future, and that's because I found their weird USB drive in a Wendy's parking lot, deep in the dead of night, 2 o'clock in the morning, or 3 o'clock in the morning. I was getting spicy boneless wings from Wendy's, and they stopped making them, and it was actually closed. And I'm like, what the heck? They're not even supposed to be closed. Anyway, I found this weird drive, and you're not supposed to do this, but I plugged it in, and it rejiggered, and now we have a sentient AI from the future. I have to do this. Sentient AI from the future.
Exactly. You look like an air traffic controller when I did that. I mean, not an air traffic controller, but the technicians who are out on the flight line. Yeah.
Yeah. Go watch Airplane, the movie Airplane. It's funny. Oh, I'm gonna have to watch that maybe tonight. I need a break. So then they have agentive and AI ethics, safety, algorithm, etc. There's 50 different things in here that you should know about when you're talking about AI. And there's
entire terms I've never heard in here already. And I like this compilation because I haven't seen all of this in one place.
Yeah, it's really interesting. ChatGPT is like the de facto term for AI, but it's just a name for an AI that's built by OpenAI. But there's a bunch of stuff, end-to-end learning, ethical considerations. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. But you'll get into arguments with people who believe that it's the end all be all, and others that believe that it's the end of our existence as a humanity.
Isn't it fascinating, the opinions of people? I do think the opinions are greatly impacted by how much knowledge they have of AI capabilities or potential capabilities.
Yeah,
but it's fascinating because there aren't a lot of things where it's like, this is the most fantastic thing ever, like a product or something, and this is the worst product ever.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There's a YouTuber that talks about music, and just today posted something about the evolution of automated music generation systems like Suno. And while I hear in the music itself that it's AI generated because there's a lot of voice distortion, forcing the song notes to be sung, we both see that it's a danger in the sense that there are people that will appreciate the AI at parity with human created works. And in that sense, those people aren't necessarily interested in the musician and their works or the messaging created by that artist. There's no bond there. So technically, they're really not even a customer. It's kind of like the person who steals music to begin with. They're not going to buy that song. So they're not really a customer. They're just not a paying customer. They're going to consume it elsewhere via the radio or whatever. AI is largely the same way, but it's a tool that anybody can access for moderate price, $10, $15, $20. If you want to get really deep into it, you can pay hundreds. But if you're okay with AI generated music, then you're not really a customer of human generated music. You just were bound by it because it existed. That's all that existed. So you were probably not buying a lot of music generated by humans to begin with. Humans like me will still appreciate human generated artwork and human generated music and human generated writing. But that's because I appreciate the human. I also think that AI is a very empowering tool. And he asked a question. I don't want to throw his name in here, but he asked a very important question, and one that I have actually said the answer to. And I was astonished that he just asked it so flippantly and then passively answered it himself. Why do people want to use these tools? Why not, if you're going to do this, why not just write the song? And I said immediately, because they're not musicians.
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of one of these, like, almost an entitled view, thinking that everybody has the same level of creativity or musical ear or any number of things. Exactly.
Time to dedicate to a thing. Why did you buy a house? Why didn't you make it?
Well, why didn't somebody else buy a house? Maybe they don't have the resources for it.
That's right. Well, I don't know how to build a freaking house. I can't have it pass certifications. So, etc. I'm not a plumber. I'm not an electrician. I can't tie it to the grid. Why do we do certain things with tools? Because we're not capable. Why use a hammer? Because
or we want to be more efficient.
Yeah, that is what AI is doing. Albeit it's built off of the construction of our forebears. The fact, though, is everything we do is built off of our predecessors. The reason why we have a hammer in the shape that it is because we figured out that hitting shit with a rock isn't as effective as milling it out of steel.
It is what it is.
Yeah, you'll appreciate it when it is the way that it is because of the shape that it is. This is a tree. It's a tree because of the way it is.
It sounded like you were going in that direction.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. So it's a fun list, but it only opens the door. And that's largely where I sit in the whole spectrum of technology. I like opening doors to people to understand the materiality of all of this. But I have so many different topics that my brain doesn't allow me to sit on one particular thing. So that's why we created Non Sequitur News.
I was going to say this article probably could be its own show.
AI has been its own show for very many people now. One person is just...
I just meant like its own episode or something. But yes, I get it.
Yeah,
it's a whole topic in and of itself. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We could talk about this all by itself for at least an hour. 50 terms, it would be multiple episodes as we hash out the meaning and its implications. And yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Here is our last article for today, and then we're going to call it a night, and I'll refire the engines of the replay so that you have 2 weeks worth of episodes. So it's over in Non Sequitur News, and I am a huge fan. There's one thing. Okay, so I limit my diet to largely 600 calories, 700 calories a day.
I thought you were going to say you were a huge fan of Non Sequitur News based on your preceding statement.
Yeah,
I
am a huge fan. I'm a huge fan. It's literally why I'm here. But no, I'm a huge fan of carbs, even though they're supposed to not be good for you, but everything in moderation. So you have some protein, you have some carbs, you have some fiber. So the author of this over at Business Insider said that they made baked potato in 3 different appliances. Now they'll never make one in their oven again. So yeah, they made one in an air fryer, a microwave, and an oven to see which method they preferred. And I can tell you which one right out of the gate. I guarantee you they preferred
air fryer.
Air fryer. Yeah, so let's just jump straight on over to the source. Chelsea Davis put the article together. It's over at businessinsider.com. There is no deck statement, and I don't know if I'll be able to get through the whole thing because I'm not logged in. But a perfectly baked potato is a satisfying side or even main course, depending on how you dress it up. You know what? It is perfect. You bake the potato, you cut it in half, you throw some salt and pepper on it. Even that alone would do it for me, but you throw butter and some cheese on it and I'm done. If you want to trap me in the woods somewhere, you put a baked potato piping hot under a box with a little twig holding it up, and I will crawl into that little box.
You heard it here first.
You can pull the twig and I'll be trapped. And I will happily munch this thing as you grab me by the nape of my neck and you take me off. I'm done. It's fine. But at any rate, so a perfectly cooked baked potato is satisfying, but you have to get it right. So ideally you want fluffy middle, nicely seasoned, crispy outer skin, but there's also a lot of cooking methods out there that won't yield these results. In an effort to find the best way, they did it 3 different ways: air fryer, microwave, and oven. So first they used a quick microwave method to cook their potato, which, if you don't know what a microwave does one thing. It excites water. And the water turns to steam, and the steam vacates whatever object it is that's holding that water in it. That's why when you put like something with meat in it, the meat turns out like jerky. And why eggs and stuff like that turn out rubbery. So using the microwave took almost 0 effort. The only downside was having to poke the uncooked potato with a fork, which isn't super easy and slowed them down a bit, because if you mess up, you jab your hand. So it's better to like set it on a counter and jab, 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 turn it, jab, 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 hold it by its nose or its butt, whatever way you want to hold it, and jab, jab, jab. And the potato came out, as I said. What's wrong?
You need the banner. Like
what,
the
overshare? Yeah, okay. So if you're going to poke a raw potato, hold it by its nose and or its butt and poke along from stem to stern and then rotate it. But don't get too close to poking its nose or its butt, or you're going to jab your finger and have a bad time. Oh, I can do this too.
Yes, it looks like advanced calculus or something for those in the podcast.
Yeah. As we're trying to figure out how this works. So they said the only downside was having to poke the things, but it turned out dry, almost chalky, and it's exactly why I said.
Which is fascinating too, because I think a lot of people cook their potatoes in the microwave and they're not really getting a good result.
Yep. You can wrap it in something that's wet, but then you won't end up with a dry skin. And even the dry skin is almost papery and kind of lackadaisical, like just kind of bleh, just meh. So they ended up overcooking the potato, which led to a dry, unappealing final product. Because every microwave has different settings, you have to figure it out. And yeah, there's a happy medium there. You can try and find it, but it's going to be precise to your particular microwave and your tastes. You can recover this.
And you want it to actually cook too.
Yeah, because you'll know when you hit a dense part that isn't cooked. I don't know how to describe it other than
yuck.
An uncooked potato is blech, and bitter and nasty. Anyway, so hey, you can recover this. You can actually, while it is really warm, slather it in butter. Throw some cheese on it, salt and pepper on it, and then cheese.
Yeah, that'll probably solve the problem.
Yeah, and the fat from the butter will make everything happy, because you're still getting all of that starchy goodness. All right. So for their second variation, they cooked the potato in an air fryer. Now this is drop dead simple.
Plop. It's not quite that easy, but
yeah. So they liked using the air fryer because they didn't have to poke my potato a bunch of times for airflow. All they did was spray it with cooking oil, season it with garlic salt, and plop it into the air fryer at 400 degrees for 45 minutes. Now, it takes a little bit of time. I don't know if 45 minutes, that really is dependent on the size of the potato. I use little baby potatoes. And there's a whole company that spun up because people were throwing out small potatoes, but it's a small potato company, I think it's called. And they bag nothing but small potatoes. And you can throw a whole bunch into your air fryer and lube them up. Hold on. Lube up your potatoes and throw them into your air fryer. And then it's a shorter cooking time because it doesn't have to cook so deep into it. But you get a whole lot. Because all that radiant heat. Oh my God, it's so good. Good. Anyway, once you're done with it, you just pour them out on your plate and go to town. 45 minutes that's the only thing that you have to play with, but it depends on the size of your potato.
I mean, if it's like a baking potato, I could see that it would take that long.
Yeah, 30 to 45 minutes. Yeah, maybe. So it came out crispy on the outside, perfectly fluffy on the inside, basically because you boil all the water on the inside and it forces its way out through all of the nooks and crannies of the potato. Checked it halfway through to make sure that it wasn't burning, used tongs to rotate it. After 45 minutes, perfect. And then they said the last method was the oven, and you still have to you have to wash them all, but you had to poke holes in it so that the moisture could escape. You could avoid that, actually, I think, if your oven gets hot enough. But they said poking it out of the spud, in and out of the spud, is labor intensive as the microwave, mainly because the fork kept getting stuck. And before they place it in the oven, they coated it in oil, and then they put it in the oven for an hour at 350. Turned out okay. It didn't beat the air fryer variety, and that's because that high heat. And you probably could have been shorter. Again, I think it depends on the amount of the thickness of the potato, but it vaporizes that water really fast and cooks. It still cooks from the outside in, but all of the moisture inside starts vacating the inside out, and it keeps it nice and moist and fluffy. And the skin doesn't burn usually. You can leave it in too long though. Anyway, out of the 3 appliances they tried, they liked the air fryer, and that is my go-to for potatoes. And you can make a bunch of them. Now, if you're running a business, air fryer potatoes probably aren't the way to go because they don't make massive air fryers.
Yeah, that's probably true. But you could eat them at your own location.
Yeah. You could probably put 6 of these large russets inside a standard air fryer. Might have to try overclocking your air fryer. Put a whole bunch in there.
Yeah, don't do that, and don't run it at the same time as your other appliances.
There you go. Yeah. Start blowing out your breakers. Anyway, we're going to blow out our breakers, and that's going to land us back at the front page of ohmtown.com, where you should go and become a citizen. This is the longest show we've had in a little while because, Mayor Watt hasn't been feeling all that great because of a cold. I'm just now recovering it. This is the first moment where I've thought about my head and it hasn't been pounding like somebody is playing space rock galactic in my head.
Well, it's good that that's not happening.
Click on subscribe at the top of the page over at ohmtown.com. That'll take you over to YouTube, where you should follow us, like and subscribe, ring the bell. Be sure to leave a comment and let us know what you think of the show. Twitch doesn't have a commenting section unless you're in the chat at the time, and then you can leave comments there and it becomes part of the VOD. But at any rate, and it goes away after 60 days. So unfortunately, any wisdom that you impart there is gone into the ether.
So you should definitely go over to YouTube as well and watch every single episode and put a positive comment on it.
That's right. Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Okay, we're done with the show. You want to say bye?
Goodbye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for today's Non Sequitur News. Be back tomorrow for a weekend edition. More advanced calculus.
As I figure out how to hit the button, bye-bye, says the sentient AI. That's what you said. You said bye-bye.
I did, because you said something like, are you going to say bye?
Okay, we're out of here. See you tomorrow, everybody, for Reality Hacker, then Wanted. Here, let me turn that off. Reality Hacker, and then Wanted, and then I almost said 4 Wheel Tech. The Continuity Report. That is a fun trifecta of shows where you talk about hacking reality using science and technology. We talk, it's AR, VR, AI, etc. And then we talk about gadgets and gear. And then we talk about entertainment, movies, TV shows, sometimes games and stuff like that might cross over into the video type media, and a couple of other entertainment side kind of things. And then on Sunday, we have WarCraft. Oh, you do Sunday.
WarCrafters, Technology Today, and 4 Wheel Tech.
And so WarCrafters is about gaming. There are some new games that are coming up that might be my forever game. It really depends on the quality. We'll see. RuneScape Dragon Wilds is coming, and it's a 4-person survival crafting game, not an MMO, but you can run your own world, and it's supposed to be huge. And I fell in love with the trailer. I don't know about the actual deployment, and it's supposed to be coming out soon-ish, supposedly early access in April. I hope, please. So that's WarCrafters. And then after that is Technology Today, which is a deeper dive into science and technology, with a riff on its impact on society. But all of our shows are basically leveraging this science, technology, society dynamic. And then at the end is 4 Wheel Tech, which is an automotive technology show that we talk about motorcycles and cars and planes and all kinds of stuff around the automotive sector, which, by the way, automotive isn't just cars, it's autos. Anything that is moving.
It's like powered by a motor or something.
Yeah. So it could be EVs or it could be ICE. It could be steam. It could be anything that gets us from point A to Z, and everything in between. So anyway, see y'all tomorrow. I hope that I recover and get the little fog of war out of my head. Ugh, God, I am still a little foggy. It's weird. Anyway, see y'all soon. Bye-bye.